The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma. According to the latest information released by the National Bank of Georgia, Georgia's foreign exchange reserves decreased by a record $627 million in October 2024. The four foreign exchange interventions made immediately before the parliamentary elections marked as a significant decline in the country's foreign exchange reserve, which fell from $4.71 billion to $4.084 billion. This is the largest one-month decline in the NBG's history. Natia Turnava, the acting governor of the National Bank of Georgia, on Friday said the bank had avoided impoverishment and devaluation of the national currency to Georgian citizens during the period when the country's economy remained healthy, and such processes should not happen. In her comments on selling foreign exchange reserves by the central bank this year, Turnava explained due to the pre-election stir, the demand for dollars had increased, adding the bank was obliged to extinguish this temporary excitement in the market. According to Turnava, central bank has bought about 3 times more dollars than sold them, adding that it's not true to claim that the reserves received a big blow. According to the latest information from the National Service of Statistics, Geostat's annual inflation rate in Georgia slowed to 0.3% in October 2024 from September 0.6%, marking the lowest reading since February. The decline was primarily due to the sharper falls in housing and utilities and furnishings, household equipment, and maintenance. The Revenue Service of the Ministry of Finance of Georgia reminds its citizens that on November the 1st, the deadline for submitting the annual declaration of property tax of an individual defined by the tax code of Georgia expired, and the payment of which can be made up to and including November 15th. According to today's data, around 400,000 persons have already submitted the property declaration, and the total sum of the accrued amount is 95,460,000 Georgian lari. It should be noted that in 2024, compared to the previous year's data, the accrued property, including land tax, increased by 17%. Zedazeni Group and Daily Group published a joint official statement on approving 2 concentrations in the FMCG and beverage production market. According to the deal concluded between them, the biggest business union was created with the great potential in the direction of logistics. Daily Group is undoubtedly a leading company in the retail trade business, which operates such chain markets as Spar, Lol Daily, Kalata, and Gvirila. The largest merger of the year in the FMCG sector was related to Daily Group and Spar from this group. In the first half of 2024, Georgia's IT sector revenue dropped. NBG published new statistical data. According to the document, in January-June this year, external revenues of the IT sector constituted $315 million, which falls short by 27% of the last year's same period. It means this year, Georgia's IT sector garnered $115 million less revenues in the stated period. In 2023, IT sector same revenues constituted $784 million, which was record high revenue for the sector.
This is The Checkpoints. I'm Elena Guanchilashvili, author and the host of the show, and the Checkpoints team is ready to sum up Business and Economics Week for you. The U.S. has elected its 47th president, and it's Donald Trump. This will be his second term in the office.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And to every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let me say, and I love you back. And I love you back. So let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting.
In Tbilisi, this is what the U.S. Ambassador to Georgia, Robin Danigan, said about the U.S. elections and future perspective of the U.S.-Georgia relations. U.S. Ambassador to Georgia, Robin Danigan, says that regardless of the results of the elections in Georgia and the U.S., friendly relations between the peoples will not change. I truly believe that no matter what happens in the Georgian elections or the U.S. elections, the relationship between the people of Georgia and the United States, the relationship between our companies, the relationship between our universities, businesses, think tanks, institutions, military, law enforcement agencies, all of these relationships will withstand any political election, no matter what the outcome is in any country, said Robin Danigan at the election breakfast organized by the American Chamber of Commerce at the Courtyard Marriott. Robin Danigan claimed that the partnership between the U.S. and Georgia is long-term and will overcome political changes and moods. On November the 5th, the presidential election was held in the U.S. in which the Republican Donald Trump won. Let me shortly summarize economic relations between the two countries. The trade turnover between Georgia and the USA amounted to USD 1,472 million in 9 months of 2024 and took the third place in the ranking of the largest trade partners with 8.8% share. According to official statistics, in this period of the year, the trade turnover of the countries decreased by 10.4% annually. Trade turnover with the USA decreased in January-September due to the decrease in imports. For this period, Georgia purchased goods worth $1,376 million USD from the US, which was 12.4% lower than last year's figure. In the trade relations between the two countries, imports take the main place, which is mainly due to the increased statistics of car imports from America. In 9 months, the USA ranks second in the ranking of Georgia's largest importing countries, up to Turkey, with 11.5% share. Top 5 commodities imported from the USA are automobiles, that's around 1.2 billion USD, and that's around 100,000 units. Nuts, walnuts, and other nuts, that's around 18.6 million USD, that's 3,153 tons. Food products, that's around 5 million, and that's 129 tons. Cosmetics, 4.6 million USD, 68 tons. Motorcycles and bicycles, 4.4 million USD, 676 pieces. In addition, this year, Georgia bought clothes, poultry meat, used clothes, auto parts, trucks, telephones, packaged medicine, and frozen fish from America. As for exports, the rate of sale of goods from Georgia to the USA is small, although America ranks 9th in the ranking of the largest exporting countries with a share of 2%. In the first 9 months of the year, Georgia received an income of $95,640,000 USD from the sale of goods in this direction, which was an annual increase of 32%. More than half of the exports come from the sale of local ferroalloys. Top 5 goods exported to the USA are ferroalloys, 59 million USD, 48,000 tons. Natural grape wines, that's around 6 million USD, 994 tons. Aircraft parts, that's around 5 million USD, 23.9 tons. Ferrous metal pipes, tubes, 4.9 million USD, 4,632 tons. Fruit and vegetable juices, 3.8 million USD, 2,596 tons. On the investment side, in the second quarter of 2024, the United States of America was the leading country for Georgia, not only in the direction of trade, but also in terms of foreign direct investments made in the country, which took the 7th place in the top 10 investor countries only between April and June. For this period, American investments in the country are not so big. This year, the volume of American FDI has decreased. According to Geostat, the volume of American investments in various sectors of the country's economy amounted to 52.1 million USD, while in January-June last year, a total of 82.6 million USD were invested. It should also be said that in 2023, the volume of American investments increased to USD 182 million annually. In 2022, it was around 179 million USD. On the remittances side, the USA has advanced in the ranking of remittances transferred to Georgia. Only in September, $49 million entered the country in the form of remittances from a strategic partner country, which was 18% higher than the figure of September of the previous year. In January-September 2024, the volume of remittances transferred from the USA to Georgia amounted to $417 million, which was an increase increase of 26%. In terms of remittances, Georgia ranks third after Russia and Italy. In tourism, the rate of travel from the United States of America to Georgia is not so great. From the overseas country with a population of 327 million people, the number of visits to Georgia in January-September increased by 10.9% year-on-year, amounting to 48,004 visits. Some more news and outlook from this week's economic performance in our short overview.
In October 2024, consumer price index increased by 0.3% compared to the previous month, while the annual inflation rate amounted to 0.3%, according to the preliminary data from the National Statistics Office of Georgia. With regard to the annual core inflation, the prices increased by 1.3%, while the annual core inflation without tobacco amounted to 1.3%. The annual inflation rate was mainly influenced by price changes for the following groups. Restaurants and hotels, the price went up by 7.6%, contributing 0.26 percentage points to the overall annual inflation rate. The prices in the group increased for accommodation services and catering services. Education, the price for the group increased by 5%, contributing 0.25 percentage points to the overall annual inflation rate. The prices increased for the subgroups of primary and primary education, secondary education, and post-secondary education. Miscellaneous goods and services, the prices for the group increased by 5.8%, contributing 0.3 percentage points to the overall index. Within the group, the prices were higher mainly for the following subgroups: personal effects, insurance, financial services, and personal care. There is a perfect coincidence. We have quite high economic growth along with low inflation, Ekaterina Mikabadze, the Vice Governor of National Bank of Georgia, said on Monday. According to her, domestic inflation had remained below the target rate of 0.3% as of October, which she said was the result of monetary policy implemented by the NBG. Mikabadze added that it was important that the total potential of economy was increased. Price stability is our main mandate at the NBG and serves as the foundation for long-term economic growth. The rate of price growth has slowed since early 2023 and inflation has consistently stayed below the 3% target since March. It's essential to note the low inflation of domestic products and slow growth of prices in the service sector largely contribute to inflation. This indicates a stabilization of long-term inflationary expectations, she added. Mikabadze also pointed out Georgia was witnessing remarkable economic performance with a reported growth rate of 9.8% over the first 9 months of the year. As for other fundamental macroeconomic factors, there is a perfect coincidence. We have quite high economic growth along with low inflation. As of 9 months, the economic growth totals to 9.8%, which is driven by a surge in combined domestic demand. It has surpassed previous forecasts and reflects the overall strength of the country's economic activity. It's also important that the total potential of economy has increased, said Ekaterina Mikabadze. Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze congratulated Donald Trump on his victory in the U.S. presidential election. In post on the X platform, the Prime Minister expressed his belief that Donald Trump's leadership would enhance global and regional peace. I congratulate President Trump on his decisive victory in this election. I am confident that Donald Trump's leadership will contribute to global and regional peace and ensure the U.S.-Georgian relations to review, he said. Projections suggest that Donald Trump has won the presidential race. Georgia's recent parliamentary elections highlight deep political and social divisions. Fitch Ratings says increased political risk and its potential negative impact on governance indicators and external finances were key factors in our revision of the outlook on Georgia's BB sovereign rating to stable from positive at the last rating review in June. In Fitch's view, political uncertainty will persist into the foreseeable future, deepening the potential for deteriorating institutional strength and independence over time. Tensions escalated after the passage of a controversial foreign influence transparency law in May 2024, which was perceived by its opponents as intending to suppress opposition. While judicial challenges to this law are underway, discontent has also increased over the passage of legislation in September that critics say discriminates against LGBT communities. And outlined at our June rating review, relations with EU and US have worsened, especially after passage of transparency legislation. While the government is continuing bound to seek EU membership, Fitch expects delays in the resumption of EU negotiation talks, effectively suspended by EU in July, and no meaningful progress towards NATO accession in the medium term, the document says. In Q3 2024, the number of Georgian resident travel trips abroad equaled 700,000, which is 7.4% lower compared to the same period of the previous year, according to the National Statistics Office of Georgia. As of the document, most of the trips, 44.4%, were made by travelers of age groups 31 and 50. The number of outbound visits by Georgian visitors from above-mentioned figure amounted to 603,000, 6.8% lower compared to the same period of 2023. Outbound visitors made 402,000 tourist-type visits, which is 1.1% higher compared to the same period of the previous year. The majority of outbound visits, 47.4%, were made by visitors of the age group 31-50. The number of visits made by women equaled 47% of the total number of visits. In Q3 2024, purpose of majority of outbound visits was visiting friends and relatives. The majority of outbound visits were made in Turkey and Russian Federation. Regarding the conducted elections, there are serious suspicions of fraud which require an investigation. We need clarity regarding this process to make sure that everything was conducted fairly and transparently, said the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, in Budapest, before the informal meeting of the leaders of EU member states in response to a question related to the election held in Georgia. According to him, Georgian people sincerely aspire to join the European Union, and the European Union made a very important decision when it granted the country the status of candidate. We made a very important decision on the part of the European Union when we granted Georgia the candidate status. Regarding the conducted elections, there are serious suspicions of fraud which require an investigation. We need clarity about this process to make sure everything is done fairly and transparently, said Michel. According to him, EU leaders will discuss the current situation in Georgia and send a clear message. We will access the current situation and European leaders will send a clear message, Charles Michel said.
Meanwhile, in Georgia, people continue to hit the streets against what they called rigged elections and demand the new elections administered by the International Committee to ensure that the new elections are held free and fair. Some analysts have also raised concerns over statistical data pointing to clear manipulations that need to be studied closely. One of them is Hans Gutbrod, who sat down with the checkpoints this week for a more close-up look at 2024 parliamentary elections.
Our estimate is that at least 40 million lari, more likely quite a bit more than that, was flowing through the country. People took that cash out of certain accounts, and that typically leaves a trace. So it continues. There's several more suggestions that we make in this regard. Those include things like really understanding where the election headquarters were, who was operating them, and people talking freely about it. Again, if there's nothing to hide, if the government really wants transparency, if they want to convince the Georgian electorate and Georgian citizens that these elections were fair, they should be able to open essentially up everything that they have, including the correspondence on the ballots, the very thin ballots, where we still don't know how it is possible that the chairman of the Central Election Commission on September 27 says, oh, it's just a test version of a paper, and then a month later we have hundreds of thousands of citizens whose vote in the end is actually visible to the people around them.
Yes, all of this needs GD's political will, right? To open these evidences for us. But you know what OCOD wrote, that there was practically no limits between the government and the ruling party,
yes,
which is not a good practice. Does this mean that the manipulations that we see were totally systemic, and what that means for the final outcome of the results, whether it will be said about Georgia that the elections were free and fair or not?
Well, what we certainly see is that when we look back and when we look back at the changes of the rules for how commission members were selected for roles in the precinct, and that change was in August. So we see, in the end, we see intent. We see people who are working towards a certain goal and to make it possible that they have the resources and the power to determine the outcome on the particular day. Now, understand that right now, yes, there's a question of larger political will, but there's also something else. There were lots of people working within the system, and maybe they thought that they were part of maybe just making a little tiny thing, and they didn't realize that what they contributed to is something really dangerous for Georgia, because what it tells people is that there's almost no point in doing normal electoral politics. There's no point in being a volunteer in a political party if in the end it's always money and intimidation and some tricks deciding. And so I think it's important also that maybe as a party the GD will not really respond. But what I do hope is that many people who somehow didn't understand what they were part of, and that know something about the inside, and that can share some of these informations, that they see themselves first as citizens of this country, and also people that actually want a better future for their children, and they want their children to stay in this country, and that they will share the information with journalists and other people who can really help us understand what in the end went on. So yes, we have a problem, but in the end, I hope that there are people with good conscience that will do the right thing now.
What do you think could change GD's behavior? Because at this point, we see that they do not listen to almost anybody who is criticizing the results and who is trying to see what happened during that day, pre-election period also, but especially during that day. And we see how courts react to all the evidences that NGOs create and bring and gather.
I think it's hard to say what will change the behavior of the Georgian Dream and ultimately a relatively small group in the Georgian Dream who take all the decisions. That's hard to say. But when you're in a really difficult situation and you don't exactly know what the right path is in the future, then I think that there's one place to start, which is that you tell the truth. You say what actually happened, and you insist on the truth of what actually happened. And I think, for anyone who's concerned about the future of Georgia, and this is also the situation in some other countries, these are difficult times. And therefore, to understand that there isn't necessarily success in a week or a month, or maybe not even in a year, But in that uncertainty, it really remains important to say clearly what happened and to stand for the right things and to say that in the end, as societies, we need rules, we need a rule of law so that we can actually work and we can build future for our children. That's important. And I think that's an important thing, almost like a compass in difficult times, that sometimes you don't know whether this path will bring success or that path or when it will come, but still doing the right thing is even more important. Also as a model for other people around you and your children. These are very, very, I think one really needs to be clear, this is a really very profound crisis. It's possible that the government succeeds with this attempt to just take the result, but still, I think it's important that people stand up to that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gutbrod-Hans. How does this uncertainty affect businesses in Georgia, and what was new in general in business this week? Natia Taktakishvili will tell us more.
Businessman Tamas Chedlidze, founder of Bioli Medical Wellness Research, declares that the Wellness Wheel project announced over 2 years ago has been stopped. According to him, investors liked the concept of the project at the exhibition held in Dubai, but they did not express their desire to invest in Georgia. When we were at the exhibition in Dubai, there were queues at our stand. When they saw the concept, everyone was surprised, but when they asked where the project was located and we mentioned Georgia, everyone refrained. If we sell our project, we will sell it to a rich person who will make Georgians proud with their investments. But as we were told, if we join the European Union, then our price will increase. I'm waiting for our price to go up, said Tamas Chedlidze. According to him, the villa project is ready in case of interest. The price for each villa amounts to $3.5 million USD, and it will be handed over to the interested party under the management for 15 years. The project is aimed at high-income tourists who follow a healthy lifestyle, are interested in real estate ownership in the country. It should be noted that Tamas Chedlidze started organizing the Wellness Research Bioli in 2005 in order to create a healthy life industry in the country, for which he has invested $43 million USD so far. My grandchildren will not go to study in Chelyabinsk. It's better that they remain uneducated. Vakhtang Yubashvili, chairman of Union of Oil Products Importers, says. According to him, the future of Georgia lies in the European Union. As Vakhtang Yubashvili notes, corruption index is the highest in Russia worldwide. A man of my age knows Russia best. We already lived there. Why does this scenario always repeat? Because we have such political leaders who don't listen to the people. My grandchildren will not go to study in Chelyabinsk. That's why I support Europe. Why shouldn't we support civilization? Let's remove all the great Georgians who supported Europe and went to Europe, Vakhtang Yubashvili said. According to the chairman of Union of Oil Products Importers, the European Union means more prosperity. I don't consider fear to be forgivable. Shurgaya, financier and business advisor, declares that he does not consider the fear of the business forgivable when the European integration is suspended in the country. According to him, big businesses should express their position clearly. Nika Shurgaya says that he does not want to be someone's judge, but notes that a crime can be committed by inaction. I don't consider fear to be forgivable. I wish all businessmen to be honest with themselves and confess why they are silent due to the fear or caution. They should consider the positive and negative sides and make a decision, Shurgaya said. Tamas Daushvili, the managing partner of company Diu, declares that the business is not only about making money. Tamas Daushvili stated earlier this year that Diu was preparing for exporting products and making new investments, but now he says that due to the situation in the country, he had to adjust these business plans to some extent. According to the businessman, the most important risk for new investment is the unstable political situation and questions regarding the foreign exchange rate. We don't know how things will develop if problems rise with the European Union. In addition, there is an emotional part while doing the business. A person will not want to implement big projects in every environment. You want to do business in a country that leads to Europe, where people are happy and have hope for tomorrow. If such an environment is not created. Business does not exist just to make money. You should be happy. You should believe in the future, says Thomas Daushvili. AgroHub, the first hypermarket of natural products, will offer catering services to the customers, being it a family gathering, a corporate party, or various events, including children's entertainment program. The dishes are prepared with the highest quality ingredients. They are created taking into account traditional Georgian tastes and modern trends. The customers also have the opportunity to select an individual menu tailored to the content of the event, although the list is quite diverse: buffet, desserts, children's coffee break, personal dinner, anniversary, wedding party, a menu of canapes, grills and drinks. AgroHub catering services focus on maintaining a high standard, taking into account every detail and justifying the trust of customers. AgroHub catering team ensures the decoration of the event with exclusive and distinctive inventory, gastronomic, furniture and textiles. Each event is served by a highly experienced team of professional service managers and chefs. Founded in 2016, AgroHub is proud to be Georgia's first hypermarket dedicated to agricultural products, as the first hypermarket in the country to meet European standards. AgroHub offers customers a wide selection of natural, healthy and Georgian-made products. Next year, Hotel Kvevrebi plans to increase hotel room number up to 70. Georgi Rochikashvili, co-founder of Kvevrebi Hotel, said in an interview with BMDG, according to him, there is a 3-story building on the territory of the hotel, which consists of 17 rooms. In addition, 20 pitchers are placed on the site, where a total of 80 people can be accommodated. We are 60% busy during the season. Our facility had guests from almost all countries. A wine cellar was added to the hotel, where guests can taste wine, take master classes or participate in grape processing process. We invested about $100,000 for this project. We are going to add sauna before the new year, in which we will invest over $150,000. From next year, we plan to expand the hotel and increase the number of rooms from 7 to 70. Georgi Rochikashvili said and added that 50 people are currently employed at the facility. Hotel Kvevrebi was established in 2023. The hotel is located on 3 hectares and the facility has a restaurant and a bar, conference space and outdoor pool. The project was implemented with the support of Enterprise Georgia and the total investment amounts to 10 million lari. We want to arrange a conference space. Rusudan Baratashvili, the founder of the Beer Garden Station located in German village of Elizabethel, said about this in an interview with BMDG. According to her, there are also plans to expand the kitchen and arrange a small cottage. We're planning to expand the kitchen in order to serve customers faster. Also, we want to repair a small cottage built by Germans at the time. After the repair, the cottage will be designed for 8 people. In addition, we want to arrange a conference space since there is a demand, said Rusudan Baratashvili, and added that in 2025 a total investment of 200,000 lari is planned. The founder of station evaluated the current year and noted that the number of visitors has increased by 100%. In total, the facility has hosted 26,000 people. We had a wonderful year. We have an 87% increase in income. In addition, this year, Oktoberfest was attended by 100%. All tables were fully booked in advance. Ruslan Baratashvili noted, according to her, foreigners account for 20% of total number of guests. Among them are foreign tourists and expats. Wine cosmetic manufacturer Zarbazani Cosmetics is preparing to make exports to China. The founder of the company, Alexander Bolkwadze, told BMDG about this. According to him, the samples were assigned 4 months ago, which resulted in a positive evaluation. We had serious negotiations with the Chinese market. The main problem is the information to be put on the label. how it should look to be tailored to the Chinese market and well understood by the Chinese customers. This is what the negotiations are about, after which production and exports of products will begin. We think that as a result of exporting to China, the production will double in a year, says Alexander Bukhodze. According to the founder of the company, currently 10 people are employed in the company. However, along with the increase in production, it's planned to add more staff. As for entering the European market, Bukhodze notes that the European market is too early for them because it's extremely highly regulated. Zarbazadi Cosmetics is a wine cosmetic enterprise which was launched in November 2021 with an investment of $500,000 lari. The company makes such products as shampoo, shower gel, massage oil, liquid and solid soap, as well as other hygiene products.
And now our focus on one of the biggest merger cases in Georgia. Zedazeni Group and Daily Group published a joint official statement on approving two concentrations in the FMCG and beverage production market. According to the deal concluded between them, the biggest business union was created with great potential in the direction of logistics. Daily Group is undoubtedly a leading company in the retail trade business, which operates such chain markets as Spar, Lorli, Yorli, Daily, Galata, and Gvirila. The largest merger of the year in the FMCG sector was related to Daily Group and Spar from this group. Zedazeni Group owns 100% share of Georgian beer company and controlling package of supermarket chain Magniti. Georgian beer company is a leader in the market of beer and non-alcoholic beverages, Zedazeni, Ravi, Tsivtsi, Visana Piro, and so forth, and internationally licensed beer brands Miller, Bavaria, Harpy, Holsten, top quality lemonade brands Zedazeni, Natural Juice Chero, Arsicola with international license, Colti, Gurieli, and Dilma with international license, energy drinks, and so forth. At the same time, the company owns its own distribution company and is the official representative and importer of such international brands as Guinness, Kronbacher, Blue Moon, and so forth. In this turn, supermarket chain Magniti is a leader in retail chain markets, which is growing dynamically, constantly improving the quality of service, and at the same time offering customers a wide assortment and attractive prices. As a result of the merger, the above-mentioned two groups will already unite the following sections: Spar, Ioli, Daily, Galata, Gvirila, and Magniti supermarket chains in the retail business, which means approximately 1,700 trading points throughout Georgia and a 30% share of the organized market. In the beverage business, it will be represented in the form of JC Georgian Beer Company, which in turn owns up to 35% share in the local beer market. The synergy of successful experience accumulated over the years will give the partners the opportunity to form the biggest joint company, which will be focused on the development of local retail market as well as on the expansion in the region. The joint company will take care of the stable development of its employees. It will be focused on offering its customer services and products corresponding to world-class standards, will be motivated to implement leading technologies and latest solutions in his company to make a significant contribution to the stable development of the country's economy. And that's all for today. We will meet next Sunday and we will discuss everything that is important in business and in economics in Georgia, in the region, and beyond. See you on Sunday.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.